welcome to the Travel Podcast. I hope you're having a great week so far. Following the success of our recent Disney episode, we're back with another one. We have our resident Disney expert, Amy-Louise from Not Just Travel, who's joining us. And this week, we're going to dive into everything Disneyland Paris. Amy, welcome to the Travel Podcast. Welcome back, should I say.
Such a pleasure to be back with you talking about my favourite subject ever.
Well, you really ignited a passion and excitement in me in the last episode. I'm sure the listeners will agree. As someone who's not experienced Disney yet, any of the parks, you just made me so inspired, so excited. I should be off there later this year. And I'm really happy that this week we're going to talk more about Disneyland Paris, because I think as Brits, it's so accessible for us, isn't it? So easy to get to. And as much as the other ones around the world are on the bucket list, this feels a little bit more accessible because people can potentially take their families, go for weekends. The cost of getting there can be a little bit more affordable. But of course, for a lot of people, it is that holiday that people really save for and look forward to. But there's something for everyone. So I would say to our lovely listeners, even if you've been before, you want to stay tuned because Amy-Louise got some great updates. And if, like me, you've never been, this is a must listen because, I mean, you know all of the insider tips, tricks, how to get the most out of your visit.
Yes, 100. Stay tuned because we have got some very exciting insights. And Disneyland Paris is my favourite, dare I say. So, I'll give you the Amy-Lou insider look.
Brilliant. Well, let's dive in. So, Amy-Lou, tell us, when did you first go to Disneyland Paris?
I've been thinking about this, and it was I can remember the logo, and I can remember Euro Disney opened in 1992, and they called it Euro Disney, and that was an American thing. That was because the word Euro to Americans is very glamorous and exciting, and that's why they chose Euro Disney rather than how we know it, Disneyland Paris, as it is now. It actually was renamed in 1994, and it's the largest park outside of the US. And I think I went in 95, 96. That was my first visit to Disneyland Paris.
And how many times do you think you've been in total since then?
I can't tell you because I did try when this podcast was going to go live. I was trying to think because I've been on coach trips, like as a young child, with a first job, I was saving up to go by coach with my friends. So I'd jump on, it was Excelsior back in the day, and we'd go by ferry, and it would take a long time, but it was like the magic, and it was almost like for two young girls going, it was like the safest way. But the first time, I can't actually tell you how many times I've been. It's that many, because it is, like you said, Hayley, really accessible, and it's really easy to get to.
So Amy-Louise lost count of how many times she's been to Disneyland Paris, but you must have so many special memories from your trips there. Is there anything that really springs to mind?
Oh my goodness. There's probably my first trip was with my auntie and uncle and cousin, and that was like one of my big holidays away from home for the first time. So I was very homesick. How can someone be homesick in Disney? But I was. And I think one of my favorite memories, now it always makes me smile, is going on the Haunted Mansion, Phantom Mansion, for the first time. We're talking 95, 96, and going home, we stayed in the Sequoia Lodge on that visit. We did a fly, we drove, actually went by ferry, and we drove on that first ever visit, and I had nightmares. I remember waking up having a nightmare about Phantom Mansion, and that is the ghost train. And now when you on Disney Plus, there are some really good videos and documentaries about Phantom Mansion and all the different and how Walt always wanted one in his theme park, but the special effects that go into the Phantom Mansion. I think back now, and I was actually really scared. So he did a good job for the first ride I can really remember going on. And Yes, that's why that memory stays with me. And I also had my hen do, my Disney do. I had my hen party in Disneyland Paris. And I got my mum on the Dumbos for the first time ever. And I've still got that picture, and it always brings such a smile because I know she's always wanted to go. And I would go and almost feel like a piece was missing. And that was definitely my mum. So when I got her on the Dumbos on my Disney do, my hen do, it was like, yeah, it was mum's dream come true.
Oh, wow, so many lovely memories. Amy Lou, so Disneyland Paris is obviously well known for its really unique attractions. Probably a really difficult question for you, but are there any favourites or any that stand out for you?
So where Disneyland Paris is the newest of the parks, a lot of the rides are more advanced than, say, Walt Disney World. Space Mountain, is, to any Disney fan, would stand out as an iconic ride. And it's had quite a few name changes now in Disneyland Paris. But I queued for ages in Walt Disney World to go on Space Mountain because it's this fast roller coaster. It shoots you into space. There's upside downs and turns. When I got to the front and I could see the cars pulling away, the rockets pulling away, and they didn't have harnesses, I was like, this isn't the same ride. And so with every park that opens, I think the ride tech and science and the physics of roller coasters change. So the one in Disneyland Paris, Space Mountain, does shoot you up, and it is a full on thrill roller coaster, which is what I've been brought up on, which I love. So I love Space Mountain, or as it's now Star Wars themed. What else is my go-to in Disneyland Paris? Oh, 100% over in Walt Disney Studios, you've got the Finding Nemo ride. Now over in Walt Disney World and Epcot, it's different again. In Disneyland Paris and Walt Disney Studios, it is, you all go into the shell and you ride the East Australia Current, the EAC, and you're in a turtle shell, and it spins you around. You're disorientated. There's the animatronics in there is so good. If you like that tummy feeling, where you lose your tummy, you're guaranteed smiles and fun with that. So they're my two favorites, I would say.
So, Amy Lou, as much as it's about the rides and the attractions, a big part of it is the food, isn't it? I know that's obviously the Disney parks are famous for the food. So, what would you recommend that people try?
So, Disneyland Paris, I think that's one thing actually that they could invest more in is more Mickey shaped food. But my favorite like must-haves is on Main Street, you've got the bakery, and it's like a whole confectionery. It's if you want whatever you want sweet, you go here. And there they have these marshmallow Mickey shaped sweets, and they're like euro, €1 50 cents. Very amazing with a black coffee. Oh my goodness, they are so good. And I'd always have one of those for breakfast because remember, Disney calories do not count. Also, love another iconic food which has been all over social media is if you head over into Fantasyland, there is an Alice in Wonderland area, and there you can get a ice cream cone, but they're all the March Hare, all Alice in Wonderland themed, and they are amazing. And for the price, it's a huge ice cream as well. So that's a really iconic one. They haven't got any Dole Whip in Disneyland Paris, so that's like my version of it, if you like. But Disney Village is undergoing a huge upgrade. Disney Village, which is like Disney Springs or a bit like downtown Disney in California. It's a place to go where there are lots of boutiques, restaurants. Do you know what? It opened, look, if Disney opened 1992, it hasn't had a makeover since. So when I went in February, Planet Hollywood is now closed. There's a lot of money being invested. So if you head into Disney Village when you're next there, there's a new restaurant that's opened called the Rosalie. And now this isn't a Disney themed restaurant, but it is a French cuisine. It's French cuisine. It's so beautiful, like a bistro. And it's the first time I've tried French onion soup, and it was decadent. So although it's not a Disney iconic food, it's iconic to Disneyland Paris because it's in Disney Village, and I'd recommend anyone to go there. It's reasonably priced as well.
Mouth-watering. It all sounds so yummy. And I know your tip regarding the food on our previous episode and thinking about, people that are taking their families and working to a budget, that the portions are big and you can often share the food as well.
Yes, 100%. And I think if another must do thing, as in with any parks, any of the Disneyland parks, is to go for a character breakfast. So I first tried the character dining breakfast. What was that? That was a big birthday a year ago in July. And it was so fun. There's so much food. It's all you can eat. You get to spend time with the characters. And I think it sets you up for the day as well. And there's so many Disney shaped treats that you can have for breakfast. The variety was incredible, actually. So that's definitely good, and especially good for planning for budgets. Because if you've had a big breakfast, you can then probably just live off snacks for the day. Well, that's just me.
It all sounds so exciting. But one of my questions is, for somebody like myself that isn't that adrenaline junkie when it comes to rides, let's talk about how the magic kind of extends outside of that element, because that's not for everybody, but there's so much more, isn't there?
100%. So you know when you go to Disneyland Paris, it's really good to plan as well, so you can get to see all the parades. The parades in Disneyland Paris are exceptional. They're stunning. There's always lots of meet and greets with the characters, so you can immerse yourself in that. And if you're going with your children, this is a perfect opportunity to queue up and to meet. Then you can head over to Walt Disney Studios. You've got the Marvel area, the Avengers campus there now. So if you're into anything Avengers, you go there. There's so many great characters. There's some really good shows over there as well. And the shows that you see really are, West End, Broadway style shows. And they always bring a tear to my eye. They're always so magical. And I'm always so in awe of these amazing people that bring it to life. So yeah, there's side attractions. There's more to it than just the ride. If that's what you're into, I would say if you were the adrenaline junkie, Disneyland Paris is the park for you because the rides are so much more advanced. But if you just want to lay back, enjoy it, have some nice food, meet the characters, go to the shows, watch the play, there's something, the Disneyland Paris is something for everyone.
When it comes to staying at Disneyland Paris, I think a lot of people dream about being able to stay at one of the Disney hotels. Do you have a recommendation or a favourite for that, Amy-Lou?
Well, if we talk about my dream hotel, the Disneyland Hotel's just been through a huge renovation, huge. And if you go to social media and you look at the room tours and the Be Our Guest restaurant and all these wonderful things that have now opened up, I mean, we want aspire, and you've got to manifest it, right? Now I'm manifesting very hard to stay at the Disneyland Hotel. But I think my favorite hotel, I've stayed at quite a few. I've actually stayed at all of them now, apart from the Disneyland Hotel. But the Sequoia Lodge, I think I'm going to come back to that one because location wise, it's right on the Disney Lake. It's not too far a walk from the park. It's very comfortable. Now, I went in February and stayed in the Sequoia Lodge for my anniversary, and I did let them know. And any of our, if you're booking through any of our personal travel consultants, we can let the hotel know as well that if it is a special occasion, they do go the extra mile. They gave us a beautiful room, a corner room actually, with so many windows. But on the bed, they had done made swans out of towels. There was a card wishing us a happy anniversary. There were chocolates, there were limited edition collection things. They really had gone that extra mile. And because of that, and the fact that's where I stayed the first time I ever went, I would say the Sequoia Lodge is my favourite. It's kind of mid-budget as well. You've got the Hotel Cheyenne, but if you are like more worried about like cost and you are more budgeting, I mean, you do only sleep there, but there is so much magic around staying in a nice room and with that kind of magic. And the Sequoia Lodge is also themed for Bambi at the moment, so yeah, it's really cute. So I'd say the Sequoia Lodge is my fave at the moment, but that could change just with one sleep in that Disneyland hotel.
A really big attraction for any of the Disney parks are the parades. So is there a particular one that you've fallen in love with? And what is it about the parades that make them so special and such a draw for people?
Yes. Well, I just came back I just visited in February, and I was very lucky enough to see the Disney Electrical Sky Parade. So this is a parade done in the sky using drones. And if any of our listeners, go have a look, if you're intrigued by what it looks like, take to social media, type in Disney Electrical Sky Parade and watch this train. I don't understand how it happens, like, the science and around it, but this train goes along a track above in the sky, and it's I was left speechless. Because it used to be, back in the day, you'd see it used to be a parade through Main Street on the ground. So it used to be and it was incredible. But the fact they've now, with technology, they can now use drones to make this parade happen. So I would say that is one to see, and it's still happening now. And I think the fireworks are what it's like, the epic closure of the day, isn't it? You've been there, you watch it, the magic of the movies, and the Electrical Sky Parade is another step, because back in the day, it used to be fireworks above the castle, and you'd be blown away by that. But then they brought onto projecting; they project onto the castle, so you watch all the movies come to life. You sing along to the music because you can't help it. And now to take it to another level with the Electrical Sky Parade, I mean, they're amazing. They're amazing. It's big. For me, it's how you close your day or your stay. You watch it, and it's just pure magic.
And you can see, for people like yourself that go regularly, how things never stop evolving, moving, changing. And again, I think that's the reason why they have so many repeat customers, because there's always something new to experience, and they obviously invest in that new technology, and they always want to do things bigger and better, which I think is amazing. A massive trend is this thing called Disney bounding. Now, Amy-Lou, you need to educate me, because I haven't got a clue what Disney bounding even means.
I will help you here, Hayley, no worries. So Disney bounding, I'm probably the queen of Disney bounding. So one of the big things in any of the Disney parks is that you're not allowed to go in full fancy dress. To any of the parks, because you will confuse the younger guests, and the magic is that you're not, there can't be multiples of the characters going around the park, so it's not allowed. But what is allowed is to take elements of your favorite Disney character and then put it into your outfit. So one of the things I do, and I spend many months planning my outfit. So on my big birthday, I mentioned, I found this beautiful like princess dress, big puffy sleeves, cute, but an everyday kind of cute dress. But it was in mint green, which is a key Ariel Little Mermaid color. And then I wore I found some ears that matched the dress, and cute shoes, usually with a lounge fly bag to match. And that's like Disney bounding. Probably my favorite one though, Disney bounding outfit. Well, actually, I'll go for February, because I'm kind of breaking away from princesses. And another one of my favorite characters are the aliens from Toy Story. And so I went on online website, and I found the dress in the right kind of blue. I then found the ears, and it was cold. When you go to a Disney park in other countries, it's usually warm, so you don't need to worry about it. But in Disneyland Paris, it's very similar to our weather. So in February, it's very cold. So I wore my snow boots, I wore the blue dress, I wore my ears, and I literally brought to life the little alien characters.
Oh, that is just so much fun. And nowadays, with everyone putting a lot more thought and effort into their photos for social media, or even just to share with family and friends on the social media platforms like Facebook, people do put more effort in, and that just must be such a fun thing to do, and so creative as well.
Yeah, it's your Disney moment, like you're in front of the castle or whatever that is. It is your Disney moment. And there are so many other Disney content creators out there. And it's just really fun to connect and like make that kind of community and yeah, have that moment because it's really special.
So, Amy Lou, I'd love for you to share your top tips when it comes to navigating between the parks at Disneyland Paris, because I'm sure you can save people like loads of time and energy and help them with their planning.
Yeah, 100%. So if we take my last visit to Disneyland Paris, we were so we went Monday to Thursday. So first of all, generally at Disneyland Paris, people are checking out Monday stroke Tuesday. So it's a good day to arrive on. So we arrived in Disneyland on the Monday, and I thought I planned my our days perfectly. So because we were arriving later in the afternoon, that was the perfect night to see the fireworks and the parade. So we literally walked into the park, the parade was happening, we did a few rides, we watched the fireworks. That was a big tick. So it is really good to like plan your time. But then you've got the app. And I think the app really helps to navigate your way around. But think about those key things that you really want to do and prioritize those. So the fireworks and watching the electrical parade, nighttime show, that was one of my things I needed to do. So I did that Monday, tick. I knew that if it was going to be a rainy week, I had no idea what the weather was going to be like. I know that I'll have done that and then be able to go back to the hotel and warm up. And then you can plan you can do Magic Kingdom. You can make sure you've hit Disneyland, all the different rides there. But then Walt Disney Studios, the great thing is that you can park hop in Disneyland Paris quite easily. But I always go, if there's a ride that I want to do first, that will be my first. I'll be there bright and early. If you're staying in a hotel, you get early access, and I will get to that queue and do that first. And that way, then that's another big tick. So it's always knowing what are your must-dos and prioritizing them, and then everything else just fits into place. But using the app will really help you with wait times, wait, and you can also invest and buy fast passes as well through the app as well if you want to.
And as you said earlier in the episode, that actually now online you can watch so much on the Disney channels or on YouTube, things like that. So if you've never been before, and maybe listeners are thinking, well, how do I know what rides I want to go on? I don't know what's there. Take the time. It will get you excited. Educate yourself on the different styles of rides and entertainment. And then, as you said, you can use the app and you can then prioritize what are the most important things, make sure they're done. Because there's nothing worse than feeling the really special thing you've run out of time for, maybe, or perhaps even the weather's changed, and get it done, and then you've ticked that box. I think that's a really good tip.
Yeah, I would 100%. You don't want to walk away from a Disney holiday thinking, I didn't do that. So yeah, prioritize like shows. If you know your weather forecast and you've got your app up and you know we're going to have a couple of showers, well, there are different shows that you can do inside, and there's a great chance, Hayley, for some retail therapy when it rains. So we'll make the most of it and the best of it.
I think another reason that people visit Disneyland Paris over and over again is that at different seasons of the year, there are different things happening. So let's talk a little bit more about that, because I know that you've been at lots of different times of the year, haven't you?
I've been probably to every single event they've had. So from Valentine's through to Pride, through to dare I say Halloween, and then Christmas. There's always something going and something new and exciting to be involved in. Probably my most favorite, and it isn't going to surprise you, I don't think, is Halloween. Halloween in whichever park you go to, Disneyland Paris or any of the parks, there's nothing quite like seeing a Mickey shaped pumpkin. They just make me so happy. They fill me with joy. And I do consider myself the pumpkin queen. So I do love going on Halloween. But it's, again, I'm going to refer back to Disney Plus, how they decorate and the quick change they do, the Imagineers, when they take the park from, say, Halloween to Christmas. It's incredible. And I've been at Christmas time as well, when it snows on Main Street. There is nothing more magical.
I think whatever time of year you go, as you say, they're celebrating something and they're doing it in that unique Disney way. So brilliant. I mean, so many amazing magical moments to be had throughout the year. So you've got to take your pick. Now, as Disneyland Paris's biggest fan, I know you love everything about it. But is there anything that you would love to add to Disneyland Paris that they don't currently offer?
Well, if you haven't listened to our Mickey memo, I'm not going to steal the thunder, but what you're going to see at Disneyland Paris is a transformation and expansion on a never before seen scale. So I'm not, like I say, I'm not going to steal any thunder, but what I'm very excited about, and I keep checking in when I go into Toy Story Land, and there's a ride, the green soldiers, the plastic like soldiers, and there's a drop ride. It's brilliant. It's like you're in parachutes, and I love that tummy feeling. But when you're in a certain direction on that ride, you can see Arendelle being built, and I cannot wait to take a stroll around Arendelle and be in the world of Frozen.
Very exciting. So many reasons to keep going back.
100%. The creative vision that is going to come is, I can't even put it into words. It's very exciting.
So one of my questions, Amy-Lou, is for anybody listening who's maybe limited with time or perhaps limited with budget, and they're thinking, wow, there's so much to see, but what's the sort of shortest amount of time that you could go and still really have a great experience, do you think?
I would say I've been to the park for different durations. Now, I think the shortest time, and this would be you on your game with good planning, you could do 2 nights and 3 days and do the big rides, the highlights, and that would be okay. But when I go, I like to go for a couple of nights longer. It means I can get to do both parks, but you're in Paris. Your Marne-la-Vallée train station is there. You can get into Paris within 35 minutes and it costs about €15 for a return. It is such good value. So for me, I like to do a bit, then pop into Paris, because why not? You're there. And then you can even get back to watch the fireworks show. I try and maximize my time as much as I can. But to do the 2 parks, definitely 3 to 4 days, 3 nights, to make sure that you've immersed yourself fully in the Disneyland Paris experience.
That's really helpful. And as you mentioned before, Amy-Lou, remember that our Not Just Travel consultants are the experts. We are always here to help with the planning, help with all of those extra special details, like you said, notifying the hotel if there's a birthday or an anniversary, or maybe you're traveling with someone with accessibility issues, things like that. Do tap into their expertise and their knowledge. Finally, Amy, before I let you go, can we just touch on the different ways that you can get to Disneyland Paris? And I know you've traveled by different means. What would you kind of suggest and recommend to people?
I've probably done them all, actually. I've flown, I've driven, I've been on the Eurostar, and and coach. So I've probably done them all. Look, I love a road trip. So a road trip from the UK to Paris is probably you can probably do it in about 8 hours, and that includes from door to door. That's a lot on the driver though. It's fine if you're a passenger princess like I am, but generally that's quite a lot. So I probably, flying, you go into Charles de Gaulle, you get the train straight into Marne-la-Vallée, That's a great option. And if you're clever and you get some great flights with, say, EasyJet, you can, you can make that really work. You've then got the Eurostar is changing though, because it's no longer you're no longer going to be able to go direct to Disneyland Paris from London. You'll have to change at Lille, and there'll be a whole passport, whole visa thing that's coming into play. So you're not going to be able to go direct on the Eurostar, and those days were the best days. But Marne Valley train station just isn't big enough to accommodate that many people, plus a passport control. So I would say honestly, I think flying, if you can go from Gatwick, if you're coming from the south coast, you can jump on the train. Gatwick, you've got the train station. It's quick transfer, and you're there in Charles de Gaulle. Quick train. The trains are very accessible from Charles de Gaulle to Marne Valley. It's very straightforward. It's not too expensive either. You're talking about €30 probably each way, but you are there, and then you can check into your hotel. The Disney transport is there to get you to your hotel. So it is quite flawless, and that's how I traveled there in February. So I do kind of rate that quite highly. But I have driven, and I have done it the other ways. And if you drive, you can stay at the Davy Crockett Ranch, which is one of the kind of self-catering hotels, but it's just off site. But it's beautiful. You've got different cabins, so if you've got quite a large family, that's great for accommodating that. But that one again isn't. The David Crockett isn't covered by Disney Transport, so you do need your car. So that's why it's so good if you drive.
Brilliant. Well, so many different ways to get there, but I think the message of this podcast is, if there's any way you can get there and have a Disneyland Paris trip, then please do go in your lifetime, because I think you've really brought the magic to life. You've certainly inspired me. I can't wait to get myself over there. I feel like I've been missing out all these years.
You're going to have to go to Walt Disney World. You'll have to do a comparison then. And Hayley, let me know, because I'll help you out.
Thank you so much. Amy-Louise, thank you for joining us for the second time. If you missed Amy-Louise's earlier podcast, and of course our Disney memo, then just hop back and listen to those episodes. I'm sure you'll enjoy them as much as this one. Thank you so much for listening. Please do rate or review, share this episode with your friends. It really does help us. And I will see you again on the Travel Podcast next week.